Hi there, this is Steven with Karma Astrology, and I was doing this, just starting this live stream with a new software, so hopefully it works, and I guess we'll see. Once it's done, I'll be able to tell, but otherwise, I'm just going to get going with a daily transit update. I wanted to bring you these daily updates just so that people could get more in touch with the daily planetary rhythms according to Vedic astrology. So, and if anyone comes in, has any questions, has any comments, feel free to leave them in the chat. Happy to, answer any questions that people have. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. All right. So, first things first, um, today the moon actually moved into a different nakshatra, which is the Indian constellations. There's 27 Indian constellations, and the nakshatras are originally from the Vedas, the Rig Veda, and they describe how we feel when the moon goes through each of these different parts of the sky. They've been incorporated into the whole system of Vedic astrology, as well as the 12 sign zodiac from Western astrology or Greek astrology, Mesopotamian astrology. So I cover a little bit of both, and just to start off, the moon is actually the fastest moving object in the sky, of course. It goes about 13 degrees and change per day. And the moon is really how we feel, and it's our kind of sensitivity, it's our emotions, it's our feelings. And so the moon being now in Purva Bhadrapada, basically what that shows is that we have this kind of sensitivity towards Purva Bhadrapada themes. And now Purva Bhadrapada is actually split between Aquarius and Pisces, just to start off. It's mostly in Aquarius. So moon's kind of right at the end of Aquarius. It is at 23 degrees right now, and it's getting really close to Venus and the Sun, as you can see in that little house over there. Still trying to figure out how to work if I can use the mouse and everything, but whatever the case. So yeah, Purva Bhadrapada is a really interesting nakshatra. It's about, first of all, Purva means the earlier, or the former, and Bhadra means blessed, or gifted, and then Bhadra, and then Pada means foot. So it's the earlier of the blessed feet. And what that shows is that it's actually a part of a pair of nakshatras with Uttara Ashada. Uttara means the ladder. And they form the constellation of Pegasus in the sky, as we know from astronomy. So there's this box in the sky, and the Bhadrapadas actually are right towards the end of the zodiac, so they kind of symbolize these themes of endings and all of this kind of prowess and power that we get after we when we're close to the end of a karmic cycle or our life cycle or any sort of cycle. So Purva Bhadrapada is connected with the god from the Vedas called Aja Ekapada. Now Aja Ekapada is basically the one-footed goat, unborn god, which is a really weird thing for us in the West to think about, but it really kind of symbolizes. It's also represented as a fire dragon, which is a little more easy to picture than a one-legged goat. But yeah, so the fire dragon, it really stands for this kind of purification energy and this sort of powerful, masterful, sharp, and fiery energy. Now, that Aja Ekapada also is kind of related to lightning in a way, because we can look at it as it's very associated with the realm of air and this kind of air and fire connection, and how the electricity from that lightning strike creates kind of that single leg of the cloud goat or whatever you want to call it. But it's really kind of this like bright shining spark of intuition, spark of excitement and energy. So today is kind of blessed with this really powerful dose of of fire, of energetic transmutation, and it allows us to make very quick spiritual progress. So today is actually a great day for diving into your spiritual practices, your metaphysical practices, and really getting to the bottom of all the different sciences that you really use to progress your evolution, your spiritual evolution. Oftentimes that's yoga in the Vedic astrology world, or meditation. It can kind of show the kundalini energy rising inside of our body. And so when it's kind of an interesting nakshatra. There's some other qualities about it. It's symbolized by the kind of crossed swords, to show the sharp nature of it and how it's about cutting through things. It's associated with the god of storms, Rudra. Aja Ekapada is one of the forms of Rudra, which is a form of Shiva. So if you know anything about Hinduism and Shiva and Shivism, then you know this is actually Shiva's kind of the god of destruction and dissolution, and kind of that underlying energy and essence of the universe. And so we're connecting with this kind of uh, this energy that allows things to kind of dissolve and fall apart, and really in order to allow us to get to the bottom of whatever progress we're trying to make. So maybe you're trying to complete a task, or you're trying to figure out how to do something, and you really need that inspiration or that spark. And today's a really good day to look for it, and to pray to your spirit guides, or whoever you pray to, God or spirit, and really kind of seek that source of inspiration. Now, it's a really interesting nakshatra also because it's represented by a two-faced person. So there's certain qualities of being two-faced as an expression, of course, having a dark side and a light side, and maybe hiding your dark side. My face right now with this lighting is a little two-faced, so um, that kind of duality of our nature in a way, and how we can kind of hide things, and it kind of plays on yesterday's themes from Shatabisha of the veil and hiding behind the veil, while at the same time kind of showing this outer appearance of that's very societally acceptable and pleasant and enjoyable. Um, but in general, when the moon is here, we have these strokes of brilliance and this power, but at the same time we can be a little miserly. We can be a little stingy and cut off from other people. So it's good to be aware of these things, and make an effort to connect with people, and to make an effort to not get too down. Excuse me, not too depressed or anything like that. And just realize that it's just a day transit with the moon. I know Venus and the Sun are here for another couple days beyond that, but still, it's kind of this energy of, well, I guess I'll go back to the two-faced thing. The One of the kind of concepts behind the having two different faces is being able to look back at your past and also forward to your future. So so this day gives us a lot of reflective powers, and it allows us to, like, it's kind of an end of life type of symbolism, or an endings type of symbolism behind this nakshatra and this energy today, where if we're coming to the conclusion of something in our lives, it really gives us the opportunity to look back at that cycle, to look back at our experiences there, and see how we can use those, reflect on those things, and what happened there, and gain wisdom from that, as well as look to the future, and kind of prepare for that, look ahead, and get this kind of intuitive insight, that lightning spark of inspiration that allows us to propel into the future. So that's kind of that two-sided face symbolism behind this. Now, so there's a lot going on here. There's definitely a propensity towards, there can be a propensity towards sadness and sorrow, because if we focus too much on the darkness, if we focus too much on the things that kind of bring us into those deeper, darker realms, then without kind of controlling our emotions or being very contained and energetically sound, then we can lend ourselves to a sense of depression or grief or sorrow. So just be aware of that, and if you kind of feel like you're falling into this kind of dark spiral, realize that you can get yourself out of it through your spiritual practices, through yoga and meditation. Now, Venus and the Sun are also now right near the Moon, since the Moon is creeping up on them, as you can see over there in Aquarius. And what that shows is, Venus and the Moon are known as gentle planets because they end up giving us things and kind of teaching us lessons that are gentle and kind. Now, the Moon near the Sun, we're actually right by this new Moon, since the Moon, as the Moon approaches the Sun, when they go conjunct or when they join in the sky, then we call that a new Moon. So what that shows is that we might be a little bit short-tempered. We could be a little bit low on our kind of energetic reserves right now, and our emotional capacity to our fuse might be a little shorter. Let's put it that way. So just beware of the possibility of speaking a little too harshly, of kind of acting a little too rash, and the the capacity for your emotions, or the ever-changing nature of our emotions is a little more fickle. It's a little more, mercurial right now. We're kind of rolling around. The Moon is actually known to be like a ball, and it rolls around to whatever feels the most comfortable, or whatever makes us feel the most connected or contented. So we can definitely, during this time of a new moon, get really wrapped up and kind of lose our temper a little bit more, or be a little more excitable. So just be careful of kind of overdoing it, or you know losing control of your emotions. With Venus, though, being a gentle planet next to the Moon, Venus actually makes us want to really experience the sense of pleasure and happiness and joy, because that's what really Venus brings into our lives, and its influence it has over us. So um, we might be looking towards these kind of Purva Bhadrapada themes, these Aquarius themes, like culture and society, and secret societies, and secret information and occult sciences, in order to feel happy, or to create some sort of joy. It does lend itself to a little bit of dark magic practice, which can be dangerous. So be careful of the your thoughts, and any sort of repetitive thought patterns that you have that you don't want to necessarily bring into the world, or always be mindful of the karma that you're creating with all of your actions, because they always come back to you in the end. But it's a good time to create that positive change, to think about society and how we can influence it for the better, and how we can maybe do things that are a little more kind of behind the curtain and in secret, but still for the benefit of everybody. Because sometimes it's like when you talk to somebody and you're trying to help them understand something, they don't necessarily um, get it if you just speak very bluntly and get to the point. Sometimes you got to kind of snake it in the back door, and without trying to be too surreptitious or manipulative or anything, but really just um, today actually we have a little bit more prowess, a little more powerful, a little more power with our speech and our influential nature of our speech. Purva Bhadrapada is also about being an eloquent speaker, and being able to explain things clearly and effectively. Not sure if I'm doing that right now or not, depending on who you are, and just kind of getting used to this new format and everything. But I'm trying to learn, learn the ropes and figure all this out. So bear with me as I get better at this over time. So yeah, and then the Sun being there is going to show that we feel empowered when we're thinking about society, when we're thinking about kind of purifying ourselves, and really figuring out what our dharma is and what our truth is, um, with regards to, where we can evolve spiritually, and how we can influence society in a way. I talk about society, and if you haven't watched my last couple videos, society is largely associated with Aquarius energy. Our culture, our society, our community, and our network circles. Also, kind of our gains in a way, because Aquarius is closely related to the 11th house as well in astrology. It's the 11th sign, and so, these are all going to be themes and ways that we're looking for expressing ourselves in our own unique way, while still trying to connect with people through our moon energy, still trying to, connect to our spirit, and connect to our sense of pleasure and joy through Venus. Now, again, Mercury is in that house as well, so it's adding this sense of intellectual understanding and awareness into that whole realm of what we're trying to accomplish with this Aquarian energy. And it's going to be in a different area of every person's house, every person's chart. So, if you're a Scorpio rising, it's going to be in your fourth house, and these issues are going to come up in your feelings, in your home life. If you're, it's going to be different for every person depending on your chart. And feel free to, book a reading with me. If there's a link in the description, if that interests you, and I can talk specifically more about your life and your karma. Um, and while I'm giving myself a plug, go ahead and hit the like button if you're enjoying this stream, um, and maybe subscribe if you're enjoying it too. Otherwise, yeah. So we have this new moon with Mercury and Venus there, and so we have this kind of added fun in a way with the new moon, since Mercury tends to bring a little bit of fun and joy, or communication, and just like this kind of levity that will lighten up this sense of, I guess, the reality of Aquarius when we're thinking about the big picture, and we're kind of worried or trying to influence society in the ways that we would like. Um, and then we still have that Mars and Rahu conjunction in Taurus getting closer and closer by the day. That's kind of making us obsess a little bit about the ways that we can protect ourselves and the ways that we can take action in order to create a sense of joy and pleasure. So it really kind of doubles down on that, um, on those kind of Venusian themes of this new moon as well. But what tends to happen is we can get a little too aggressive. We can get a little confused about our anger and where it's coming from, and where we kind of place it. So we have to be very careful not to get too riled up, especially when we have that kind of new moon, volatile, energetic, emotional state. And then we have Jupiter and Saturn conjunct Pluto. We don't really talk about Pluto too much in Vedic astrology, but nonetheless, Jupiter and Saturn are in Capricorn with Pluto, and that's really been this whole past year of lockdowns and of boundaries, because Capricorn shows boundaries in our lives. It shows, our kind of all the ways that we want to protect ourselves and keep ourselves and the ones that we love safe, and the systems and the structures and kind of all those things that we try and build up in order to create a sense of safety in our lives and protection. So when Jupiter's there, as it has been for the past year and for another month or so, it's basically been teaching us lessons about these boundaries, and how to find the deeper meaning and the spiritual point behind the knowledge, the wisdom, the spirituality behind all the lockdowns, all of this kind of seriousness and the protection that we're focusing so much on. And then Saturn is actually the ruler of Capricorn. It's associated with Capricorn energy, in that, um, they're both, it's about determination. Saturn's kind of the planet. It teaches us through grief. It teaches us through pressure. And so we might be feeling that kind of pressure in our lives, as we've been feeling over the past year, and that's going to go on for another year or so with Saturn and Capricorn. And so, it's definitely a long-term transit and something to be aware of, and but also realize that it's temporary. You know, everything is temporary, and these boundaries will change their form, and we'll be able to go out again someday. And if you're still in one of those areas that's locked down, but it's kind of teaching us, you know, the essence of how to basically stay safe and make things last a long time, like our bodies. You know, so you might have been learning a lot about health, a lot about how to create wealth and to maintain wealth, because Jupiter actually deals with our wealth. And at the same time, some of the wealth on our bodies, some of the storage facilities on our bodies is our fat cells. And so people might have had weight issues during this time that we're kind of learning how, or maybe they've learned how to kind of cut the fat. This is actually a really good new moon for cutting the fat, for doing a new regimen and really going at it hardcore, because that lightning bolt type of energy, that spark of action, can really take you places right now. Yeah, so that's about it. Doesn't look like anyone's here, so if you catch this recording, I hope you enjoy it. Um, I'll come back tomorrow or the next day with an update. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a fantastic day and a great new moon, and make some progress. Yeah. All right, take care. Peace and love.